So before we begin, I would like to respectfully acknowledge that the Alzheimer Society of B.C. operates on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of Indigenous peoples around the province. I am presenting to you from the unceded traditional territory of the Malahat, the Kwatsan, and the Wasanic nations in Shawnigan Lake. And our vision of a province whereby people living with dementia feel acknowledged, welcomed, and included will only be possible if they have access to resources and supports that are barrier free, which includes being free from any form of racism, including Indigenous specific racism. And if you'd like to share the traditional territory from which you are joining today, please feel welcome to do so in the chat box. So I want to extend a thank you to everyone for joining us for this really important conversation today. So our discussion will delve into the emotional complexities of supporting a family member living with dementia in a long-term care setting. We recognize that this conversation may touch on some personal themes, including grief and loss, and we want to emphasize that this is a safe space for open dialogue and shared learning, and we appreciate your commitment to keeping this environment respectful and supportive for everybody. So as we embark on this discussion together, please note that today's webinar is rooted in the sharing of lived experiences. So we will share personal stories and examples of things that our panelists have found helpful on their own dementia journey, but we're not experts in the field. And so we won't be giving formal advice or providing formal education today on the topic of transitioning to long-term care. And we also won't be able to provide recommendations for specific care homes. We want to acknowledge that everyone's dementia journey is unique, and similarly, everyone's experience of long-term care will be unique. So today we are going to share 4 different stories and experiences, but we encourage you to share your own stories in the chat box and your tips and strategies and things that have worked well for you, because we feel that through these lived experience sessions, we have so much that we can learn from each other. So for those that are seeking information on how to access long-term care, we will be sharing a helpful resources document in the chat box that includes links to where you can find all of this information. And we also encourage you to attend one of the Society's educational workshops. There are several on the topic of supporting a family member in long-term care. And we've included links to some of the recorded education sessions on this topic on the helpful resources document as well. Okay, so it is now my great pleasure to introduce to you our guest speakers today. So to begin, I am delighted to introduce Martin Lang. So Martin is a dedicated caregiver for his wife, Lynn, who lives in long-term care. Together, they feel fortunate to have 3 daughters and 4 grandchildren. Their shared passion for travel has taken them to 25 different countries. At the heart of their relationship is a mutual love for family, which is what has brought them together. Martin and Lynn live by the motto, "We will make the best of everything," a guiding principle that Martin embodies as he navigates his caregiving journey. So a big welcome to you, Martin. Thank you for being here today with us. And it is now my pleasure to introduce Eric Lee by reading a beautiful reflection that he wrote about his caregiving experience with his mom. And so Eric shares the following words with us. I learned to dance with dementia. From getting tripped up to learning to never give up. Through trial and error, I developed the fortitude and the strength of knowledge to navigate my mother's care in the roughest seas to safety. I have the courage to sit with her through the storms. I am with her. To recognize and appreciate the days when the sailing is smooth. I am with her. She is no longer alone. Dementia, the uninvited stranger that arrived at my family's door. Once alone, now we dance, turning pain into progress, chaos into courage, the unloved to be loved. My experience has revealed I have the power to care. And thank you, Eric, for being here with us and sharing those beautiful words. And now it brings me great pleasure to introduce Terry Marshall, who resides in Caslow, a charming village on the shores of Kootenay Lake. So Terry is a devoted care partner to his wife, Janet, who lives in a long-term care home due to cognitive decline and mobility issues, but otherwise good health. He visits Janet daily, and together they share their music on their YouTube channel, Caslow Penny Lane Studios, which now has fans from all over the world. Strongly recommend checking it out. It's beautiful. Terry was an elementary school teacher, and Janet once taught music from their home. Together, they raised three sons and have five grandchildren, and even have great grandkids. They've shared musical adventures and cherished travel memories and continue to embrace life and the blessing that is Caslow. So, a big thank you to you, Terry, for being here today. And now I'm delighted to introduce our final speaker, Tana McNichol. Tana resides in Langley. Along with her sister and her brother-in-law, she supports her mom. As her mom's dementia progresses, caregiving has become a significant part of Tana's life, profoundly shaping her personal and volunteer work. Joining a local support group enabled her to learn more about the disease and connect with others facing similar challenges, which inspired her to become a lived experience partner with the Alzheimer Society of B.C. Now that her mom lives in a long-term care home, Tana finds joy in taking her on outings that remind them of their past routines. Professionally, Tana holds a seniors real estate designation and works with older adults and their families to assist them in navigating the process of downsizing and transitioning to long-term care. So if everyone could please join me by extending a very warm welcome to each of our panelists today. I just want to thank you so much for being here and sharing your experiences and your insights with us. It truly means a lot to have you here with us. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen so that we can see each other. Okay. So the first topic that we're going to dive into is around maintaining connection with family. So there are many myths and misconceptions surrounding dementia. For instance, some people have the belief that visiting a family member or friend in long-term care may not be important because the person may not remember the visit or they may not recognize the person visiting them. And so I'd like to start by dispelling that misconception today and pose the following question to our guests. So, why do you believe it is important to maintain a connection with your family member living in long term care? And we'd love to know how you create meaningful moments of connection together. And if it's okay, Martin, we'll start with you.
Thank you. I'll just say that my wife Lynn was diagnosed over 14 years ago. So we're fortunate that she's doing as well as she is. And I see her very frequently, which I'm thrilled, of course. And we're able to do a lot of things together. But the connection with the family members, I feel strongly that with the family that can help, it helps her to feel like she still belongs to these people. And one of the things I found out is that men cannot operate a phone, an iPhone, just it's not possible. But having said that, there are ways to make it work. So men who cannot operate can still phone me or her family in Florida or anybody she wants to by just saying, Siri, call Martin or whatever. So that has been extremely helpful because she loves to speak to people all the time. And incoming calls, it goes directly to her phone's speaker. So she doesn't have to touch her phone. They could just say, hi, sweetheart, I'm here, and we have a conversation. It just keeps things open for her, that she's able to express herself and be connected. And that is, as we all know, so important to have that connection. Whether she phones me at home to tell me what she had for dinner, it doesn't matter. You know, we have this dialogue. And as far as the meaningful moments, we share birthdays and other special occasions. When possible, a lunch or a dinner out together with family and friends. In North Vancouver, so we use Whole Foods. The parking's there. The restaurants upstairs. It's just so easy for people to come and entertain them. And we also celebrate all the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas. Things I do with her is picnics in the car. We'll go down to the beach and I have sandwiches and everything. So she's still part of what's going on. And also driving around like Stanley Park or sightseeing. any of these activities keeps her engaged. And I think that's so important. Something else we do is at the home, we watch movies together. Where we hold hands, and it's just part of evening entertainment. I'll go for dinner and then stay to watch the movies and then get her into bed. And it's kisses and goodnight, and we'll try again tomorrow. Um, she likes to be involved with the uh, things that are going on in the home. There's like bingo and flower arranging, different games, musical events, which keeps her engaged with other people. For a lot of those years, she was here at the house, and I was doing everything I could do. And then I'd hire people to take her out for a walk, or Coastal House would send some people in and do some baking or whatever. But I found that she actually improved by being around other people. And I'm a proponent of these facilities. Until we got involved, I really wasn't too sure. But I believe because she is engaged that she's doing as well as she is. And um, oh yes, something I found that was really important through one of the Alzheimer meetings was I was able to use an old laptop, and I put it in a room, and I have over 5,000 pictures on an endless loop. And so we can sit there and we can say, oh, this is where we were traveling to, or here's Cindy, or here's Tammy, and here's where they were the grandchildren were babies, and all the way through. But it's on a continuous endless loop. And again, it keeps her engaged with the family and the friends who come to visit. I always print the pictures and put them up on the wall, and we can talk about these people. I just think it's so important to have that continuing on as long as possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Martin. Those things that we do to bring those connections together are so critical, and photos and reminiscing is such an important part of that. Thank you. Tana, can I ask you to share a little bit about how you maintain a connection with your mom and make meaningful moments together?
Sure. Hello, everyone. I'm actually at my mom's care home right now, and I've tried to find a very quiet corner. My mom has had influenza and no longer on medication, but she's not eating and she's just sleeping all day. So I'm quite concerned. So my intent was to go home and do this, but I thought I'm gonna stay here. So I hope there's not too much background noise. I honestly believe that the more often I see my mom, the longer she's going to remember me. So, but I really enjoy coming and seeing her as well. And it's interesting because she's on the third floor. There's homes on the first, second, and third floor. And as soon as I come off the elevator, I don't know how she knows I'm there, but her and my eyes meet like within seconds of me coming off the elevator. And it's like she knows I'm coming. And she's like a little kid. She raises her arms, and I think she thinks I'm taking her home. Maybe that's more why she's more excited than actually just seeing me. But in any event, right up until my mom did transition to a care home, we would walk, and we'd walk and get groceries or to the drugstore. And since my mom's been in the care home for safety reasons, she's in a wheelchair, and which our family agrees with because she is unsteady on her feet. However, I'm very determined to keep her walking because I know if she sits in the chair all the time, she's gonna be staying in that chair. So she went into care in June. So we looked actually quite funny. Sometimes people would honk and wave. I would have her pushing the wheelchair around the block. And then I brought the wheelchair because when she got tired, she would just sit in the wheelchair. And one day we were coming back to the home, and one of the occupational therapists was horrified that I had my mom pushing this wheelchair. And I she said you should be taking the transport carrier. So that is a lighter wheelchair, and that's one that I can fold up and put in my car. So we did that the next time, and my mom commented on how light it was. So that was a good thing. But what's been nice with this transport carrier, I've been able to put my mom in the car, and then on colder days, maybe take her to Winners or a nursery or something. So I've tried to keep doing the things that we used to do. And of course, it's smaller scale and it's not for as long. And we have to make sure she goes to the bathroom before we go because the bathroom routines is quite a lot when we're out. So um, yeah, and I will say with that too, is my sister's the exact opposite. My sister doesn't want to take her out because she's afraid my mom doesn't want to go home, because, or sorry, go back, because she always wants to go home, which is fair enough. But the thing is, for me, is that it doesn't matter what my sister does, is that she's doing what's good for her, and she's still going to see my mom, and that's what's important. And so we kind of split up and between myself, my sister, my brother-in-law, we kind of go at different times. So my mom has more visitors during the week. So yeah, that's basically I think since she's gone into the home is our family's just tried to keep up a little bit of what we used to do because although she has dementia, she's still very, very aware. So thank you.
Thank you, Tana. And I think an excellent point that a quality visit or connection is going to look different for every family member, and what works for you, and it might not work for your sister, but just that being present and being there for your mom is what
So much
counts.
so, so much so. I know the days that my sister goes, it's like, oh, okay, she's with a family member. So yeah, it's huge.
Thank you for sharing. Eric, do you mind sharing a little bit with us about how you maintain connection with your mom and what creating meaningful moments look like for you?
Sure. Thank you, Martin. Thank you, Tana, and thank you, Kim. So my mother is not verbal, so a lot of our communication and connections require nonverbal communication, and that um to me was hard in the beginning because we associate so much with our memories and our experiences through communication, through spoken communication. Um, but as I learn to understand dementia more and grow the connection between my mother and I realize that just being there is meaningful. Just showing up. First of all, I would say showing up is the most important part. A lot of times after showing up, things will fall into place. Um, and I like to share that the heart um, doesn't forget. The mind, yeah, I'm forgetful. I forget things, but I never forget, how someone makes me feel. And that brings me to Maya Angelou's quote, which I really enjoy. And Maya Angelou's says, "I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." So that inspires me to show up. And when I do show up, a lot of times we play, and what the play serves not only as to pass the time, but the play also allows my mom the opportunity to engage her senses. And so here's one of the brands that we go.
Mhm.
So it's soft. He's big eyes, he's cute, and I can also toss our little friend back and forth. And when I do this, not only am I able to have that quality playtime with my mom and bond with her, it also allows me to gauge um, her reaction, her time, her motor skills. Um, so that gives me kind of like a snapshot of where she is in that time. So there's days where she's slow at catching. There's days where she's really quick. And that tells me without her speaking to me. And that's where showing up is extremely important, and memories and miracles are made from showing up. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. I love that. And engaging the senses can be such a wonderful way to connect. Just the touch, the textures, sound, smell, all of those things. Yeah. Thank you. Terry, I would like to ask you to share a little bit about how you're maintaining a connection with your wife and what creating meaningful moments look like for you. And as Terry shares, I'm going to put a question in the chat box as well for you to share your tips and strategies with us too. So, Terry, go ahead.
Right. Thanks, Kim. Yeah, well, my wife, fortunately for me, lives only about a kilometer away from our house here in a little village of Caslow. The long-term care is part of the hospital here, and I'm able to go up and visit her every day. I do. She was for a few months in New Denver, a village that's about an hour's drive away over a pass. And last winter, it was a real challenge because it's a heavy snow pass. And fortunately, we had a light snow winter, and it was only a couple of days I couldn't go. Um, our family, we have three sons and grandkids, but they're all in other towns, right? So for them to visit, it's always like a special occasion when they come. And it's often sitting with Janet in the care home in the common area, with Janet very quiet and me carrying on a conversation with our family and finding out what they're doing and what's going on and that kind of thing. But Janet is aware of what's going on around her, even though she's at this stage in her dementia journey. She's very quiet and really, her presence is looking around and just taking in, like in the moment, what's going on around her. So for me, as her caregiver, uh, I'm relying on the care staff to look after her basic needs. And I'm able to go in and spend quality time with her playing music. Up till just the last few weeks, she was really very engaged in the music, singing along with all of it. But she got a UTI, urinary tract infection, a couple of weeks ago, and she's still not recovered from it. She's today, when I was visiting her, she was in bed. I sang through a bunch of songs. She just enjoyed listening to it, basically. So, it's a bit of a sad phase we're in right now where I'm not getting a lot of response from her, but I'm hoping that she will regain some vitality. I asked permission from the nursing staff to give her some probiotics. Hopefully, I've been told by other people, anecdotally, that antibiotics can be hard on your energy level once your gut flora are disturbed, and yeah, I'm hoping that she can regain some of the normal health that she has had. She's in a wheelchair full time. Her mobility is very reduced, um, but she was enjoying coming out with me on Fridays. I could book a handy dart service, transport service, and they'd bring us down to home. I'd bring her in, we'd record a song, I'd put it up on YouTube, and then I'd take her out to one of the little cafes that's just around the corner, and we'd have a mocha, and she'd get to watch what the downtown scene was. She really enjoyed that. Yeah, so uh, my connection with her is daily connections, spending time with her quietly if that's where she's at the moment. But usually I push and get her to listen to me playing some songs or whatever. Or I'm feeding her now. just to, encourage that because it's too much trouble in a sense, right, for her. So, I mean, yeah, the care staff are great. I really appreciate it. There's not enough of them. At times there's nobody available, sort of thing, when, I'm looking for somebody to assist or I'm looking for somebody to assist somebody else, right? Like one of the ladies is always getting up without her walker, and it's terrifying to see her head down the hall without that support. And so I usually leap up and grab her walker and pass it on to her. And I yeah, I wish there was more staff, but the ones that are there are doing the best job they can. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Terry.
You.
I know in our conversation, something that stood out to me was your effort to keep her connected to your community. And when she was well, to go out to the coffee shop and you used to busk on the street corner
Yes,
together and
yes.
make music. And because your small village is such a part of your identity, keeping that connection was
Yeah,
very
I've
meaningful.
gotten over any kind of feeling of embarrassment about, sharing where we're at, like Janet in the wheelchair. Um, we recorded, yes, well, we didn't record yesterday. We performed yesterday doing some Christmas carols at the center's Christmas party, and Janet was totally slumped over in her chair and, only sang a little bit on Silent Night. But I'm not embarrassed about that. It's the way things are, and I talk to people about her UTI, and oh yeah, well you should try this, and that kind of thing. So it's sharing honestly what's going on with us. People have connection to it, right? Oh, I've experienced. A woman would say I've experienced a UTI, and this helped me get over it, and that kind of thing. So it's good to be upfront about what's going on in our lives.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm just going to turn to the chat box. We've posted a question to our audience to share a tip or strategy that they found helpful when visiting with a family member or friend living in long-term care. And there's many wonderful suggestions in here. I'll highlight a few. Taking books and photos to visit. I think um, items that connect people to the past, things that you can reflect on, reminiscing. They can be wonderful strategies. Music has come up. Um, Someone shares that their dad's face would light up when they played familiar tunes, and someone else shared creating a Spotify playlist with many of their wife's favorite songs. So yeah, I do think music is such a wonderful tool to utilize whenever we can, and particularly songs that connect us to those moments in our life that bring fond memories, whether it was the song you first danced to or what was playing when you went on road trips as a family. Those types of things can bring people back, and it has a very powerful connection to memory. Playing games, yes, games, puzzles, TV. Yeah, absolutely. Documentaries, music documentaries. Thank you, everyone, for sharing all those wonderful tips. I think again, there's so much that we can learn from all of our lived experiences. So I appreciate that.
Wow.
Yeah, the documentary Alive Inside is an incredible story around the power of music. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for sharing about those moments that connect us. And we're going to talk a little bit now about how we adapted to a new care environment. So as we move on to the next question, I do think it's important to acknowledge the significant adjustment that family caregivers face when the person that they're supporting transitions into long-term care. And so caregivers often find themselves navigating a whole new dynamic of care. And for some, that can be a move from being the sole support to being now a vital part of a care team. And so while care staff are there to provide the specialized support, we know that family caregivers bring in valuable knowledge about their person's history, their preferences, their routines. And then we just learned how important visiting and connection is for the person living in long-term care. So I'd love to learn a bit more as a caregiver. What has this transition been like for you? And do you have any tips or strategies for working collaboratively with care staff? And if it's okay, Eric, can I turn to you?
Yes, you may, and you have.
Thank you.
Okay. Um, Working collaboratively. So I would break it down into three parts. And the first part would be letting go of control. Being a caregiver, caring for a loved one at home, oftentimes we are we wear many hats and constant vigilance, always wanting to be in the know what's going on. So when my mother went into long-term care, one of the major hurdles for me was to let go of control, let go of how things should be, and find um, a way to trust the process of that each member on her care team, they are experts in their own field. And by bringing the team together, I remind myself that I'm part of this team now. I'm no longer working and caring and just giving care as a solo caregiver. And now I'm part of a team. And the beautiful thing is that as a team, TEAM, we can say together, everybody achieves more. So that helped me move towards acceptance that I need to let go. I need to let go and just let the universe take the thing and the care team do what they do best. Communication is one part, and understanding what goes on behind the scenes was very important. And this leads me to the second point of managing the transition is the importance of family councils. Family councils are getting more popular now, but when my mother went into care, I didn't know what a family council was. So I'm grateful to be part of the team that founded the family council, and now I understand the importance of family councils because family councils act as a bridge between our loved ones and the management. And it's a safe platform. It's a safe space for people to ask questions. And it's also an inner community within the community of care where there's always kind of like a guidance, a mentorship. There's a peer support group. So once a month when the families come together, whether it's online or in person, we share our knowledge and we share our struggles and we share our strengths. And that, I think, really helped power me through on days where I've absolutely felt defeated. So I'm thankful for knowing about family councils and now being on the council. I share that as much as I can because there's a lot of support outside the long-term care's doors, and friendships are made through the council. And lastly, to emphasize the value of our loved one that transitioned into long-term care is letting the staff know the life story, who is my mother? What does my mother like and dislike? Letting them know my mother grew up on the streets of Hong Kong and she's super street smart and she can get into the nursing station. So these things are like that, and it's no longer a diagnosis where the staff, the team members, see where they're able to have that opportunity to see the identity, to see the person behind the diagnosis, and that has really helped. The long-term care home where my mother is at, they had an initiative where the residents have posters of their life story, like a summary of their life story. And for me to read other residents, her neighbor stories, when I visit my mom now, I'm no longer visiting my mom. I'm visiting her neighborhood. And I've seen the difference what it makes. And at the end, I would say, who are we without our stories? Who are we without our stories? And this is where the third point is so important, is to build the team. Number one is to let go of control. And number two is connect with family councils. And if there isn't one, form one. Reach out to me. I'm happy to help out to form one. And the third is to share our loved one's life story, because that is the priceless, and that is what we are there for, is to continue building on that story, and will live on. Thank you. It took up a lot of time, more than 3 minutes. Sorry.
Oh, well.
No, so much valuable information shared there, Eric. I think helping share their story is such a crucial part. And we do have some tools linked on the helpful resources document for anyone that is looking for a place to start. We have the All About Me booklet, and it'll also take you to what's called the Conversation Starter. And that's like a one-page snapshot of who your person is. And I love that the care home where your mom is has everyone's story at the door, because you're right. That is how you create community. And connection, and you're probably a big part of more than just your mom's life when you visit. So thank you. Terry, if I can ask you to speak next about what the transition to long-term care was like for you as a caregiver, and any tips or strategies that you have for working collaboratively with the care team.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Kim. Well, for me, the journey has been one of discovery, if I could put it that way, because I certainly took life for granted very much. You know, our lives were neat and organized, and everything ticked along, and everything was fine. And then a year and a half ago, well, 5 years ago, Janet had a fall, and that really precipitated all of what we've gone through in the last 5 years, which she had a concussion and she had broken ribs and was bedridden. And I instantly, overnight became a caregiver, whereas she had been, very well, more than 50% of the partnership sort of thing. She was a great homemaker and would host family gatherings and all that kind of stuff, right? And I'd clean up. That was my job, sort of thing. And so after that initial me full on, like what Eric was saying about being all of the roles, all as one, being responsible for everything. When Janet was able to get around again, I was hyper vigilant and managed over several years and several crises to get to the point where, we were managing pretty well. But then she got a UTI. That was a year and a half ago. That put her into hospital, and she never came out, right? She never came home again. So very much. I'm sort of camping at home in the sense that her bedroom is still there and her closet is still full of clothes, and I had to buy adaptive clothing for her that could be opened up in the back and allow the care staff to put on with the sling and everything, right? She's not mobile at all. So for her, the care staff, it has to be easy for them as well. So um, yeah, they're a great the group here that works with Janet and with the other people, the other residents, are very kind and compassionate and are absolutely doing their best that they can for everybody. Um, uh, it's good. There's activities. There's other things going on that we take advantage of. Um, as I was saying, right now Janet's going through a kind of a bit of a health crisis, and I'm hoping that her body can recover from this, and she can regain some of her vitality. And otherwise, the care staff is very appreciative of my involvement, the fact that I'm respectful of whatever their best efforts are, that, I'm advocating for Janet's health now, where it was 2.5 weeks ago she got this recent UTI, and they gave her 5 days of antibiotics. And because she's been so slow to recover, I thought, well, maybe she's still got it. Maybe she should go on antibiotics again. But I'm always in an asking advocacy role where I'm not demanding, that they do something. I'm saying, well, should we explore this? Or, I'm letting them do their job, right? And so, yeah, so I just do my best. I certainly accept any family member that wants to come and visit. I say yes, and I try and be the intermediary where I'm there, but I'm, allowing them to interact with Janet as much as possible. And yeah, I just keep everybody informed. I take lots of photographs. I show Janet, and I email photographs to her sister, who's 89 and still totally with it, right? Still living on her own with some home support and stuff. And so she's always like making sure I'm doing the right thing for her little sister, right? So yeah, yeah, just doing my best, doing what I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. You're very much that link now between the family
Yes.
and that advocate piece is so important. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Martin, if you don't mind sharing with us a little bit about what this transition has been like for you as a caregiver, and any tips or strategies that you might have for working collaboratively with the care team.
Um, well, just background, my wife had a fall outside, went to the hospital, is a fractured hip, is in the hospital for about 4 months. And then they transitioned her over to the home, and she did fall this year in the home, and that was hip surgery. So I try to stay involved and stay out of their way at the same time. But all the health people that are there, I mean, whether it was the physiotherapists, and I've got a whole booklet of instructions on how to help Lynn in the parallel bars, because she's more or less confined to the wheelchair, but she wants to walk. She can barely stand. I walk with her frequently, do the exercises. I've hired professional care physiotherapists to come in and help, because the staff there do their best. But between myself and their work and the professional, we try to strengthen her legs, because I always guess, why can't I go home? I want to go home. I get that constantly. And my backup excuse, which is somewhat true, you have to get your legs stronger. The doctor said after the hip surgery, it takes a long time at our age to heal. Now, of course, she doesn't accept it and won't accept it, but it's my go-to excuse. So I try to work with the professionals there. They all know me. They can phone me. I'm involved in I'm learning about medications and things like that. Some I have to purchase myself, the rest they provide. And I check the dosage, and if she's a little bit slow or is she getting too much of something, but again, I try to stay out of the way, but compliment everything they do because I rely on them 100% every day. They're there every day. As often as I'm there, they're the medical people involved and the professionals. I believe in professionals. And the transition, I'll back up. My wife is a party girl. We've had every party, every wedding, every anniversary, every birthday for 35 years here at the house, and loved every moment. And she just loves these parties and still would like to do some more. But now I'm on my own. And there's this whole word, somebody used the word transition. I'm not coping well. It's a huge loss. It's a very deep, which we're all facing, loss for our own reasons. And I'm having to adjust to my wife's new personality. She's just not the party girl. She's just happy to get her meals and go to the activities, and loves it when I'm there. We can do something together. The whole thing is quieter right down, whereas before she was such a vivacious woman and outgoing and successful in life, successful in business. She just had that drive. She still has the drive because she wants to go home, but still, we'll get through that at some point. For myself, to help with some of this loss, I've joined 2 different Alzheimer's support groups. I've been going to different seminars, and I found the support groups, both of them are in North Vancouver, have started in West Vancouver where I live, but anyway, they're all in North Vancouver now, and they're just terrific. I'm with people, one's a mixed group, men and women, and it's amazing the dynamics there, and the other one is men only. And again, the dynamics are so different. Men don't sit and cry that often, but it happens. And it's okay because we know each other. And it's okay, and that's helped a tremendous amount for me. I can just get it off my chest or get it out. And some people understand what I'm saying. They're going through their own journey. And I feel very honored to be part of this group as well as the Alzheimer's groups that I belong to. I'm just trying to learn and cope as much as I can. And my participating in Lynn's life, doing the things I mentioned, and even simple things. She loves playing pickup sticks, which is, you got your, what do you call it, manual dexterity. She shakes a bit, but when she's focused, she can pick up those, and she can do very, very well. It's very competitive because the mind takes over. And this is what I'm trying to help her with. Even playing Go Fish, which she had to teach me. So, it's an activity and it keeps her mind going. And I learned a long time ago because she used to be able to walk, but she would, what we call it, the Alzheimer shuffle. But I'd say, sweetheart, we have to cross the street. And I learned that you count numbers. And again, the mind takes over. She goes 1, 2, and she's marching across the street. We get to the other side, she's back to the Alzheimer shuffle. So when we do exercises, she counts everything and she gets involved because of the counting. It's truly amazing because she can't walk, but all of a sudden she's able to do things because she's counting the numbers, which are the steps or whatever. So I'm learning as I go with all these professional people, and it's helped me tremendously to learn to adjust to my new wife. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. I know that's an emotional subject, and I appreciate you touching on that tremendous adjustment and shift that happens when a spouse transitions to long-term care for both people involved, and the grieving process that happens now. Your future together looks so much different, and yeah, thank you for sharing.
I just want to make one comment.
Mhm.
Sorry, because I've just been trying to deal with this. I'm trying to decide, and not that there's a decision, what am I going to do with the rest of my life?
Mhm.
I think all of us who are involved with a loved one in their situation, thinking, well, I'd like to do something for myself as well. And I don't want to sound selfish. That's not the point. It's an awareness that I need to start looking after myself a little bit better if I can. Thanks
Yeah.
again. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. Tana, if I can ask you to share a little bit about what the transition's been like for you as a caregiver and any tips you have for working with the care team.
Sure. So, the transition into care has been harder and it's been easier. So on the easier side, we love the 24, when I say we, it's my brother-in-law and my sister, so I know I can speak for all three of us. It's been easier due to the 24-hour care. So up until my mom went into the hospital, she lived on her own and has lived on her own most of her life and was very adamant to stay on her own, but we worried, you know. Yeah, so it's the having her being looked after 24 hours and knowing that she's safe is everything. That she has her meals prepared and delivered to her table, and if she's in her room, it goes to her room. Whereas, like, we were preparing meals, and then she wouldn't want them. She didn't. Yeah, so that was tough. Also, the shower she towards before going into care, the showers were tough. She didn't really want to have a shower, and I don't know who got more wet, me or my sister, but we were soaked by the time that we got her out of there. And here that they're more equipped, although she still doesn't really like having a shower, but it's more equipped. So that's been huge. This might sound a bit strange, but for me personally and my sister, the hard thing about being in the home is that there's not a lot of activities. And there is, but there isn't. There isn't where for many people don't participate in all of them because they can't. Someone like my mom is still, aware but not aware. She's aware enough that she wants to go home. She's bored. And when I visit and, stay 2, 3 hours, I know that that's the remainder of the day she's just sitting there. And I find that really difficult. And Sundays, I do visit on Sundays, but Sundays there's no activities. On the stats, there's no activities, and then sometimes on the Tuesday. So that's 3 days with no activities. And sometimes I drive home and I'm incredibly sad because it's just like my mom was always on the go, little Energizer bunny, and doesn't know how to sit around. So she's having a very difficult time with that. And so are we. Uh, our way of we've gotten to know most of the aides and the nurses by being around and by saying hello when we come in. How's my mom? Now they know who we are, and they'll say, "Oh, well, Mary's, blah blah blah. Today it was your mom's not eating. She's not really drinking any fluids." So it's them knowing us. You feel like Eric said, you feel like you're part of that team. So, and a lot of the nurses and aides I do know by name now, so that's really wonderful. And as I believe it was Terry said, or all of us really treat them with respect because they are running their butts off and they're mentally and physically exhausted. You can see it. I know on Sunday I was here and one of them said to me, "I'm sorry, I haven't got your mom yet. We're short-staffed." And I was like, "Hey, yeah, no, no problem. No, I'm here. What can I do?" kind of thing. So um, that's huge too. Early in when my mom first came in, I fortunately got the care coordinator. She's like on the floor coordinator's email address. So anything that I didn't feel that the aides or the nurses could help me with, I would email them her directly. And then she would call me or chat with me when I came to visit my mom. So that was really good too. And it was in writing too, because I had a few concerns about a couple different things. And they do take a while to get back to you because I'm not the only family member. So, and I do understand that. I believe the family council is every quarter here. So my sister and I were on the last one, and I thought that was really great because uh, we they took back uh, they asked us questions and they took back concerns and let us know what was happening for Christmas, and one big thing I got out of that family council was that one of the ladies on the Zoom was an aunt to somebody in care. Now they're in a different part than my mom is, but she says she was asking for advice or what do I do? All my mom says, or all my auntie says, is that she wants to go home. She wants to go, and she says, I stay for 5 minutes and I leave. So my mom says that all the time. And, right or wrong, we just say, well, tomorrow, tomorrow. And it helps ease it. And she does forget. So I reached out to the social worker that had the Zoom and said, hey, is there any way you could connect me with this lady? Because I think she kind of needs to hear from my sister and I about what we do, because it's sad that she's going all the way to visit and then she's leaving because the aunt won't say anything else about other than going home. So it was nice to be able to connect. And she said, the social worker said that she would connect us. So it's been nice to connect with other people too, not only when we visit, but through other homes that are part of ours as well. So, uh, so the transition into care, I think in the beginning was quite hard. Is my mom getting water? Or is she getting, that kind of thing? But I just do the things that are important to me when I'm here, and they know what to do. They know their job, and I trust that, and need to trust that they know what they're doing. So, yeah.
Thank you. I think a common theme that I'm hearing everyone share is that respectful communication and advocacy, and also recognizing the wonderful job that they're doing and that they're often short-staffed. But having that voice and advocating is still important, critically important in some cases. And so developing those relationships, getting to know people's names. And Tana, you mentioned having a point person asking, who can I contact if I do have a concern, can be really important. And then the family council is such a wonderful asset as well. And it brings that peer connection piece, which can be so helpful. Thank you all for sharing. I think a lot of wonderful information. We're going to talk now a little bit about finding balance and prioritizing self-care, because that's such an important part of this journey as well. We've touched on it a little bit, but it's emotional, and caregiving can have both a mental and physical impact on us. It can be stressful and exhausting at times. So, how do we find balance between caregiving and prioritizing your own well-being? And that's a real challenge that I hear so frequently from so many family caregivers is I know I need to take care of myself, but how do I find that balance? How do I prioritize my health needs as well? And so would love to hear from each of you how you find balance in your own journey and what you do for self-care. Um, Terry, would
Ah.
you mind going first?
Okay. Um, well, because I'm so close to Janet, right? Only, like I said, less than a kilometer away, um, I'm able to visit with her and be home as well. And at home, um, we've got a very nice place, right? So it's easy for me to be here and learn new music that I can then share with her, right? Share my enthusiasm for a new song I've learned. Uh, and so that means a lot to me. The also I have a friend who his wife is an Alzheimer's patient in the same facility. So he and I usually talk every night about, how the day went. So if there's any kind of, frustrations on either of our parts, we're able to vent a bit and that. So that's good. I don't feel like I am alone managing this, right? It is a bit weird being at home uh, and like I said, camping sort of thing, right? Like my days are very much dictated by getting myself ready in the morning, my routines, and then going up and visit. Like it's always the priority is that I go up and see Janet as kind of as soon as I can. So after that, I might have things I have to do, like this webinar, for example, right? Where I'll be saying, oh, I've got to go now, dear, because I'm on doing this thing this afternoon. And so, basically, um, self-care is just going through each day and enjoying sort of the routines. I take photographs when it's sunny out. We have a lot of gray, dark days here for sure now. It's been a kind of a dark session. We had a sunny day yesterday, and today it's like totally, bleh, you know. So I get out and I take some photographs and then show them to Janet, right? The Moyer, which is our steamship uh, paddle wheeler. I got so many pictures of that in the sun, and with the mountains behind and stuff. So, just get out and enjoy. And I pretend I don't drink coffee, but I have an oat milk mocha every day. I go out, I get one to go, and then take it up to see Janet. So, I treat myself pretty well. You know, we, I'm not suffering, if I could put it that way. I accept what's going on in our lives right now. I mean, yes, do I wish it was different? Certainly, but it is what it is, and I'm happy with my duties, and you know, I, my experience in my professional life as a teacher, it's all about service. I'm serving my clients, my students, my families, and as a loving husband now, I'm serving my wife, right? And contributing to the life up there, doing music every week. We do our weekly concert. That'll be tomorrow. And I've said to Janet, like, whatever, if you want to not be part of it and stay in your room, you can. If you want to come and you just want to sit there with me, I'll do it. It's I take on that responsibility. So that kind of what can I call it? Pride in what I'm able to do gives me strength as well, right? Like I'm a pretty confident person, right? Even though I'm a real, a so-so guitar player and everything, I go, put it out there, and people love it. So hey, I keep doing it basically. So that's it. That's it for me.
Thanks, Terry. Well, you touched on some really important things. You have an outlet through your music and through your YouTube channel, and you bring joy to so many people, and you've made so many connections all around the world. And then you also mentioned not doing this alone and having at least one person that we have that we can share those really tough days with and talk through things with and have that support. And it also sounds like you actively look for those moments of joy to stop and take a picture of the sun shining off the boat, and all of those things are small
Yeah.
things. It's same with our lattes, right? But
Yeah.
they're necessary. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Um, Martin, can I ask you the same question about how you find balance and take care of yourself through this journey?
Yes, thank you. The self-care is really tough for everybody. Um, to begin with, my wife has been in the home now. She's in her third year, and I was told I was going too frequently. So it's kind of the time I had, because I wasn't so busy, I would spend with her, of course. But then I was told by the few professional people there I should not come as often. so she can slowly get involved in the community, which was tough.
Yeah.
I want to be there 6, 7 hours a day and lunches and dinners and activities. And that was a tough one for me. And I'm not doing a great job with it. But I also have to realize I need to force myself to get out and do other things. Okay. Not just run over there because it's just 20 minutes away and do these things, do something for myself. And that, again, is really hard because most of my life has been with her and it's always been together. So I do write and I do write different stories. I'm not interested in publishing. I've written children's books and I've done some other stuff, and it's a very singular thing. Of course, I joined a bike cycling group here in West Vancouver, and it gets me out. But again, everybody's busy on their bikes, and you have coffee for 20 minutes. I'm not really meeting anybody. Um, and what else do I know? I'm trying different recipes at home. One thing I did do, which I forced myself, and I was so nervous, is I took a cruise from Australia to New Zealand by myself. That was really pushing myself out the door and doing something that I love traveling. And there's three, I'm not promoting any particular cruise line, but there's three of them that actually have discounted rooms for single people. And so I had a lovely room with a balcony. I met three women quite by accident, and there was no romance. There was nothing sexual. We were just buddies. One was going on a tour. The rest of us would meet for lunch and go off to a museum. And it was putting myself out there, which was really hard. But that um, um, what the cruise line does is anybody who's on their own meets in a room and who wants to go for dinner, then you start talking to people. Again, I'm putting myself out there. Now it was, again, very difficult. But, and I haven't heard from these three women since we all got home, which is fine. But if I was sitting by myself, they joined me for lunch or dinner or would, hey, let's share a bottle of wine or whatever. It didn't matter. But it was companionship. And I realized that I can do better doing something. I'm okay by myself because I always relied on my wife. I was sort of the quiet one. And so I really learned a lot from that. So that was part of my self-care, is putting myself out there. And I need to do more of it. I'm not sure what, because I still want to drift over to see Lynn as much as possible. So that's my self-care story. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Martin. It's almost like a journey of rediscovery, of finding yourself again. And yeah, we all are looking for ways to connect. So thank you for sharing
Just
what's
one
worked for
comment.
you.
There's a book that came out from the doctor in West Vancouver. It was called Neither Single Nor Married.
Mm.
And it was quite an eye-opening because it's a struggle that men and, of course, women go through. If you trying to get out there, you're trying to meet people, and you still you love your wife or spouse, and you're stuck. You're in this gray area. So the book did help me to recognize the fact that I'm not alone in this, and uh, it's possible to have a life as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And no, you're not alone. Thank you. Um, Tana, if I can ask you the same question about how you find balance while supporting your mom and taking care of yourself.
Sure. So my mom's care home is in White Rock and I live in Langley. So sometimes if we haven't had a great visit, maybe my mom's, you know, just not feeling great that day, or instead of going straight home, I might do some grocery shopping in White Rock just to kind of break it up so I don't think about it all the way home. So I find that that really helps. And or I'll go stop in at a store or something in White Rock and just break up it up because I know that because I've done it several times, I just think about her all the way home. So that has helped a lot. Um, my mom and I are extremely close, so I do visit often because I feel the emptiness when I don't see her. Uh, But I think that there's probably more time now that she's for myself, now that she is in a home, because when she was at home, it was like we were there from 9 o'clock in the morning till sometimes late at night. So I feel like I have a little bit more time anyways. So, yeah, I'm just trying to think. Oh, and another thing that I do is my sister and I will talk about it. How was the visit? So I find that really helpful as well because I can tell my sister, okay, I did this, I did this, I did this, because sometimes when I come here, and I air off a room and I wipe down stuff. It feels like a sense of accomplishment. And because I'm doing little things, and just by talking to her, because I don't have to explain my mom's personality, it's wonderful just to kind of get it all out. So I find that that really helps as well. So, um, those are kind of the things that I do. And of course, it has allowed me more time to get involved with what I'm doing today, which is great. I really enjoy it, and I think it's good talking about it, and I think it's good to help so many people. Or there's so many people going through this. Everybody knows somebody. So if we can just offer even a couple nuggets to for someone to take home and put into use, that makes me feel great. So, yeah.
Thank you. And I know we so appreciate these stories and the sharing that all of you are doing today. I loved that tip about if you've had, a tough visit, instead of going straight home and kind of playing it over and over in your mind, doing something just to distract yourself, and then debriefing, having somebody that you can talk to that truly gets it too is important. Thank you. And Eric, how about you? How do you balance your role as your mom's caregiver and taking care of your own health?
Uh, Answering honestly, that is one of the hardest, hardest um things to do because I feel if I stop and take care of my needs, that things will fall apart. And again, it kind of relates to what I shared earlier about control. So I I struggle with that. I struggle with that a lot, and this is where the Alzheimer Society and the community um has those little nuggets. And speaking of nuggets, that kind of segue into to my self-care, which is maybe not too healthy, but it's all you can eat fish and chips. Something about fish and chips and something about all you can eat that I find very healing. It's like it's my time. Um, and I find that therapeutic temporarily. And then going to thrift stores, I found was actually two birds, one stone, serves two purpose. Going to secondhand stores, thrift stores, because my mom goes through a lot of clothes a lot of other items, and when I go to such a Salvation Army, I find stuffed animals. I find there's clothes um, that the person's living in long-term care need. And if I'm able to pick that up on a discount, and if I'm able to find something that I want, so on a visit to a thrift store, we're satisfying a need and also a want. So I find going to the secondhand stores very therapeutic, and a lot of them they also give back to the community. Um, and then volunteering. I think that's where most of when I'm burnt out and tired, I instead of it seems like the more I sleep, the more heavier my heart gets. It's almost truthfully, I cannot bear the silence of the ambiguous grief and the loss. So volunteering has been huge for me. Um, Family council, being being on the family council, um, it it allows me to, I think it heals. It's my self-caring because serving on a family council gives purpose to the pain and the pressures that are stuck inside my heart. So when I volunteer, I'm able to get that energy out and share those nuggets. Turn the rocks into nuggets. Um, but it's constant. I'm seeking a solution on how to care for myself. And being here today with everybody is a big step. So thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think I can maybe speak for everybody just in how much we appreciate, yeah, everything that you're giving and sharing, Eric, and all of our guest speakers and our audience members too. Thank you for sharing in the chat the ways that you take care of yourself and the activities that have been helpful. There's so many wonderful tips and strategies that I think we can take away from each other's journeys and the shared learning. It never stops. But I appreciate, Eric, you touched on the difficulty of this question. It's not an easy thing to do to balance being a caregiver and taking care of yourself. And it's no easy task. I don't think there's any easy answer. But the more we share and the more we talk, I think that's a good starting point. And fish and chips. Thank you. Okay, we have a few minutes left, and so I'd love to take us to our closing remarks. And so I'll ask each of our panelists, what would you most like people to take away from your experience? So if there's just one thing that you would like to share with those tuning in today, what would that be for you, Tana?
I think the biggest thing that I have learned is that, there's a ton of books on dementia, but there's only one, my mom. They're all our loved ones are individuals. And I touched on this earlier, but that's all my mom talks about, or mostly is going home. So I ease it by saying, or we all ease it by saying, tomorrow mom will come and get you. And then it allows her to think about something else. And in that moment. And this week she wanted to go on a trip. So we talked about going on a trip. Where would you like to go? So, is it right? Is it wrong? To me, it's right because it gives her moments of happiness and she forgets. So, and it allows me to talk about something other than just going home. So, the biggest thing for me is just to kind of go with the flow and we chat about whatever she brings up. And whether it's a big story, that's okay. So and what really, that's been really helpful for me too, because in the beginning, I was so frustrated about want to go home, go home, go home. I didn't know what to say. And now we have great chats about, what would you make for dinner? Oh, I don't know, maybe a big roast beef. And she talks about that and she'll bring something up that she used to make. And so, yeah, just care for the way you think that's right for your loved one and yourself.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Yeah, just meeting her where she's at in that moment. And you touched on therapeutic fibbing, which is a strategy that we talk a lot about in our education workshops as well. Um, Eric, what is your final message to our audience today? What would you most like people to take away from your experience?
Um, it's hard to keep it simple on this one, because the takeaway, there's just so much to take away. I think a major takeaway would be on how to manage guilt.
Hmm.
And as caregivers, or what I like to say, givers of care, um, oftentimes I find myself feeling that I'm not doing enough. And if I cannot achieve that, I feel guilty. So I have to pause. Um, remind myself to pause sometimes, and know that I'm not failing my mom because I'm trying. We only fail when we stop trying. So as long as we continue to try, we don't fail. Let that guilt, soften a bit, and find success in every day when we don't give up. I would like to share a quote to a takeaway quote, which I put into the chat, which I found is very powerful for myself when I'm feeling horrible and I'm feeling depressed. And then when I'm struggling, I reach out to this quote by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. And it is, there is within each of us a potential for goodness beyond our imagining, for giving which seeks no reward, for listening without judgment, for loving unconditionally. This quote has got me through many dark moods, and that would close off my takeaway.
Thank you. A beautiful quote to close us out. Thank you, Eric. Terry, is there anything you would like to say to the audience? What do you hope people take away from your story?
Well, just that, life is a challenge. I mean, it just, um, I know, in my teaching career, when we were having struggles with a student, teachers would describe them as challenging, right? So life's a challenge, and you know, you get through it. Time rolls by, right? It's um, life goes on, and you do the best you can, like what Eric was saying. You try your best, and that's all I can say is, you do your best. So, like, what I'd like to leave with, if you'll allow me, is I'm just going to sing the chorus to a Christmas song that I wrote with kids back a little while ago. And it's a song Janet enjoys. And so if you can imagine the two of us, there's a whole song to this, but this is the chorus. This is a season of harmony. Fill it with joy, fill it with peace. Give thanks for your blessings and share with your family the joys of the season and a great Christmas feast. The joys of the season and a great Christmas feast. Anyway,
Thank you.
take care, everyone. This has been wonderful. Great sharing. Yeah, I value everybody's story. Like, I think, yeah, Eric, you keep talking about, what life is a story, right? So you got to keep writing it and enjoying it, really.
Thank you, Terry.
And singing it,
And
finding our
singing it.
song in our stories.
It's a
Yeah,
song. Life is a song.
there's
Yeah.
so many ways to share our story, so many creative ways, and song is a beautiful one. Martin, is there anything you would like to say to our audience
Thank you.
today?
Yeah, I had to write it down. I like to write, and sometimes it makes sense and sometimes it doesn't. But I'm just going to read it. It's quite short, but it has to do with who we are. On this journey, loving someone who has offered so much in our relationship, it is important to realize that we are doing and will continue to do the best we can as they drift through their fog of understanding. Throughout this journey, I have to believe in who I am. I have to believe in me. If I can't believe in myself, how can I expect others to do so in making the best decisions possible for my wife, Lynn? At times, this confidence may slip away, but I truly know I'm doing my very best for her every day. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a very lovely way to close us out. Thank you all for your messages, your stories, and thank you to everyone for sharing in the chat box. We truly appreciate it. I'm just going to bring up our closing slides here. Okay, bear with me for one moment. All right, so we come to the end of today's webinar. Please take a few minutes if you're able to complete a short evaluation survey for us. The link to the survey will be in the chat box and is also for you written for you on the screen, alzbc.org/feedback. Your feedback truly is vital for us to continue to improve our webinars and our content. You can click on the link in the chat box to participate in the survey, and it will quite realistically just take about 5 minutes to complete. And we really, really appreciate that feedback. We share it with our guest speakers, and it helps us choose what topics to cover next. If you're interested in sharing your own lived experiences with us, we would love to hear your story as well. And so if you or someone you know is interested, please feel welcome to reach out to me at livedexperience@alzheimerbc.org. I would love to connect with you and hear more about your experiences. And then you've probably seen this mentioned a few times in the chat box, but the First Link Dementia Helpline is a wonderful resource if you have questions that we didn't answer today. And I know that there's so much information to cover on the topic of long-term care. Please feel welcome to reach out to the helpline. The First Link Dementia Helpline English services are available Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. at 1-800-936-6033. We also have helplines for the Chinese and South Asian communities available from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and a helpline number for folks living in the Yukon. And a link to the recording of today's session will be available both on our on-demand webpage and on our YouTube channel within about a week. And there's a whole wealth of other recorded dementia education sessions there. So please check that out. You have all the links in the helpful resources document. And I just want to thank everybody here today for tuning in, for sharing in the chat, and a real special thank you to our guest speakers for just sharing your wisdom with us, your insights, your life story. I can't thank you enough. I know this was an emotional topic, and we really appreciate you being so open and vulnerable with us today. So thank you. I'm wishing everyone a wonderful rest of your week and happy holidays to you all.
Yeah.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah. Take care, everyone.